Yo, what's happening everybody? King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Bat League video. Today I'm going to be showcasing a team featuring all 3 of the Paldean starter Pokemon in the Great League. The event for the Paldean Pokemon has started here in Japan, New Zealand, and of course in Australia as well, and in certain parts of the world. I was able to go out today and catch these 3 Pokemon, and I actually got quite decent ranked ones. So I decided what better way to showcase these Pokemon than throwing them into a team together and getting absolutely destroyed by the Great League meta. In today's video, I'm going to go through whether these Pokemon are worth building or not, and we're just going to showcase some pretty insane wins, to be honest with you, and of course a lot of very close losses as well. The offense Deoxys here, it's pretty much a Pokemon that beats my entire team here, with the exception of Skeledirge. We're going to stay in here for a moment with Quaquaval and look to fire off the Aurelius. They can usually go for the back-to-back Psycho Boosts here, so in this situation, of course I don't want to eat this move. They built up to 10. I'm going to look to try and catch the second one in Meowscarada, which of course counters are super effective, but now that they're double debuffed, we're hoping that they probably swap out and we have something that we can hit. Now, as you guys can see, I'm actually running Play Rough on Meowscarada. There is a specific reason I'm running this. It is for situations just like this, where we have a Pokemon and we can potentially hit for super effective damage. Now, I did invest a shield here, because in fairness, if you have a look at my team, we do not have an answer to this Pokemon. We land the Play Rough for heavy damage, and Mandibuzz will be able to farm us down. We're going to get off a last second Night Slash, and I'm sure the opponent does not really know the counts of this Pokemon. So quite fortunately, we do get a shield here. We're going to probably come back in with our Skeledirge. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing these names, by the way, but I am trying my best here. What I decide to do is wait the turn. I don't throw the Incinerate, I wait the turn, and I catch a foul play here on Quaquaval. We're hoping here at this point we can look to do heavy damage to the Deoxys, but unfortunately, you're going to see that Quaquaval is so glassy, the counters really rip for this thing. Can we get to the move? We just about can't. The opponent still has a shield here. You really have to play very well if you're going to run these 3 together. I was making a lot of insane catches, a lot of turn waits, a lot of resisted catches with Psychics and Psycho Boosts. Unfortunately, to be completely honest with you guys, I went, I think 1-4 in the first 2 sets, or maybe 1-4, 2-3, and I had a free 2 set, which was pretty surprising. These are 3 exceptionally different Pokemon to use in the Great League, and they're definitely super glassy, and if you are going to build any of these Pokemon, you definitely build Skeledirge or Quaquaval. I think Skeledirge is probably the best of these, and in comes Gligar. Again, we're just seeing Pokemon here that beat my entire team, unfortunately. We're going for the speed, it's not going to make a difference at this point. The opponent would have easily left a Shadow Ball, and that's good games well played. Quaquaval has quite an interesting moveset. It has Wing Attack, Aurelius, it can know Liquidation, which in this particular match I wish I had, and of course Close Combat. I think Aurelius and Close Combat is probably the most preferred moveset. We're going to go for this after 7, which of course is optimal timing. 7 into 15 turns, 7 2-turn moves into 15. Now, I'm going to expect the opponents to probably go for a Flame Charge bait, but I can't really afford to let this go. I do want to try and take Switch here if possible. I'm going to throw after 4, which is a little bit less optimal, but it allows us to get off the move and basically threatens the knockout on Talonflame. Now at this point, the opponent goes for the double shield, and I was tempted to go for a catch on my Skeledirge, but I decided I'll stay in here, try to farm them the whole way down, and whatever comes in is going to be mated and greeted by almost back-to-back close combats here. They come in with Venusaur, they're going to get the double Aurelius here. I arguably could have came into Skeledirge at this point, but I was happy just to get this heavy damage through. I bank an Aurelius, I'm only 1 off the move, and in comes Swampert, pretty much the worst thing you can possibly see. The Swampert does win CMP, and now we're going to find out, is Skeledirge bulky enough to live this? Unfortunately not. This thing is just absolutely glassy, and I think at this point, we do come in with Meowscarada. This is doing insane damage, and I actually don't want to eat a Hydro Cannon on this thing, because it'll absolutely rip through this thing. This is probably the glassiest Pokemon I've ever used in the Great League, and back in comes Venusaur. We're going to try and get to the Night Slash. The opponent does throw a move, but at this point, we're at the stage where we have a move banked on Quaquaval. The Sludge Bomb takes us out. We can look to CMP, or of course it wasn't even CMP at that point, and take them out with the Aurelius. So in that matchup, I more or less RPS the opponent. I came out with a ton of energy, and that's what won that match for us. Defense Deoxys, man, it's a rough Pokemon for this team. If you are seeing a ton of these in the lead, you could arguably run Skeledirge. No matter what combination of these Pokemon you use, you're going to be ABA weak to something, right? This Pokemon's weak to Flying and Electric, so it's basically weak to Lanturn, right? So we're double weak to Lanturn in this team, and we're weak to Counter in the lead. Counter's absolutely ripped through Quaquaval. So whatever way I was trying to work it out, I'm trying to choose my weaknesses here at this point. There are a lot of Pokemon that just kind of rip through this entire team. We catch the second Psycho Boost once again, trying our absolute best to beat this Defense Deoxys team. And we're going to see what the opponent does. They go for an extra counter, and in comes Dugong. This thing is absolutely ripping us to shred, but we're ripping it to shreds as well. We CMP here on the Play Rough. Of course, it would be more favourable to have the grass move, but in this case, we're getting off one move anyway. It's pretty useless to shield us at this point, and I think we're going to come in with maybe Quaquaval or Skeledirge to look to build up some energy. Our Quaquaval's pretty low, so we're going to come in probably with Skeledirge here, or maybe we come in, yeah, we come in and get an energy head start. Now at this point, the opponent can throw a super effective Drill Run, which, you know, spoiler alert, would do a lot of damage on this thing. This thing does not live moves very well, and at this point I'm hoping that the opponent does let this go. This is our best answer for Deoxys and our best hope of actually beating this Pokemon. Thankfully the opponent lets it go, and we're going to see what the opponent decides to do. They come in with Carbink. What are you supposed to do against this thing? Top left, if you're wondering. So yeah, let's look at these Pokemon individually. So Quaquaval, it's a water fighting type, so something similar to Poliwrath. However, it's using Wing Attack, and it has access to Earliest, so it's not quite like Poliwrath in that sense. It is a little bit unique. However, like I said, it is super glassy, and the close combats hit like an absolute truck though. You're going to see some close combats in this video. And then of course we have Meowscarada. This Pokemon is by far the worst of the three. It is super glassy, doesn't have a particularly good moveset. Leafage is pretty terrible move overall, to be honest with you. It's a move they added to a bunch of Pokemon, but it really just doesn't get you to the moves fast enough for how glassy that thing is. It once again hits like a truck, but you know, it's a little bit in vain. Unfortunately, you cannot really tank any neutral move, and it's a very tough Pokemon to use. I'm hoping it may be better in Ultra League, but I'm not really holding out a lot of hope for Meowscarada. I think Skeledirge here is the best of the bunch. It can know Shadow Ball, Disarming Voice, I think it knows Crunch as well. Its fast moves are Incinerate, which is pretty unfortunate. It's quite clunky, and of course it has Bite as well, if you want to be a toxic biter. Meowscarada, worth mentioning, has Charm, so maybe you just want to use that as a fast move pressure Pokemon. As you're seeing, we're absolutely ripping this Lanturn to shreds. All of these moves are resisted, but you're going to see that a resisted Thunderbolt gets us into the yellow, and it's a very tough one there. We're up a shield, and we have a full health Quaquaval. Now we're going to go for the big Play Rough. The recommended moveset is Grass Knot. This is why we're running Play Rough on this Pokemon. It absolutely wrecks the Medicham. In comes Quaquaval, in comes Noctowl. We're up 2-1 shields, and ladies and gents, we're going to build up to the back-to-back close combats here. The opponent's going to fire for Sky Attack. I'm going to build up as much as I can here, and look to launch both moves. One close combat from this range should take out the Noctowl. This is a neutral close combat, and you're going to see this does insane damage to this thing. The opponent shields it. We're going to CMP them on the next move here, and this is going to look to either take them out, or it's going to be super close. Does this KO? It doesn't quite, unfortunately. I thought it would KO because this thing is so glassy, and I don't really have a chance to farm this down with Meowscarada, unfortunately, so maybe I could have looked to bait, and I would have maybe got an extra wing attack through. Unfortunately, this is just game over for us. If we had have got that off, we may have been able to win that, but good games well played, and we get a very positive lead for once here. We get an Umbreon in the lead. We're going to look to overfarm and try to build up to the back-to-back close combats, and we'll see if the Umbreon respects this, and we'll actually see how much damage this does. As you can see, our guy is dancing away on screen here, farming up to the back-to-back close combat. Will the opponent respect this? If they do not, this is going to do an absolute ton of damage. The opponent lets it go and it absolutely wrecks them. We CMP them on the next move, and this will look to take out the Umbreon. Will the opponent shield this to try and get their move off? No, they give up switch. Oh, it doesn't quite take them out. I was so sad at this point. I was like, bro, they're on 1 HP. I thought it did take them out. Unfortunately not. We get a full Incinerate free, which is quite nice, and we'll see what the opponent decides to come into. With an Umbreon lead, you need some sort of answers to Medicham, and they actually have Medicham themselves, which really indicates that they're super weak to this thing. I'm thinking this is a guaranteed shield at this point. The opponent is definitely weak to Skeledirge. They let it go. Unfortunately, I could have nuked them with the Shadow Ball. At this point, it might be worth full sending nukes on these Pokemon because people do not know the movesets of these. However, I thought that you would assume that they would have some sort of a ghost move, and we're going to try and commit to the farm down here. This is going to be getting very close. One Psychic would pretty much KO us from this range, so we do want to get rid of this Pokemon, and we do decide to throw a move. The opponent shields it. I catch the Psychic on Meowscarada once again. Meowscarada, the only good thing this is for catching Psychics. They come in with Wigglytuff. It's absolutely ripping us to shreds. We're going to throw a resisted Night Slash. I don't expect this to get the shield because, of course, it was very quick to the move. We resist these charms here on Skeledirge, and we're going to look to fire off back-to-back Disarming Voices. My timing was not the greatest in this video because, of course, you're trying to get moves off as much as possible, but 5 turn versus 3, 1 is the most optimal timing, so we're just throwing after 1 each time, and we're hoping to get this low enough where they don't get off a move. If they do throw a move, we will shield it here. The Medicham is dry, of course. We caught the Psychic and Meowscarada. The opponent sees the writing on the wall on top left. It's good games. Hopping into the next match, once again, the game is not being too kind to us today. We're getting a pretty negative lead with Shadow Sableye here. Now, foul plays are resisted, but this thing does not know the meaning of the word resisted because, unfortunately, these foul plays absolutely rip through us. What I think I decide to do here is let this foul play go. They didn't build up to the return. I'm going to look to go for the close combat, which would do much more raw damage. If the opponent lets us go, this will almost take out the Sableye, but unfortunately, folks, they did shield it, and we're looking to be in a tough position. We come in with Meowscarada, which of course resists all of the moves except for return, and at this point, I decide I just need to fish for a boost here at this point. They're going to outspam me here. Can I get the boost to potentially take this match up and maybe look to throw a move on whatever comes back in? We're going to go ahead and invest a shield in Meowscarada, something that's very painful to do, to be honest with you. This Pokemon is so glassy that it doesn't really have a lot of use, and shielding it's kind of sad because you know you're not going to get a lot out of it. We do, however, get the boost this time, and you know what? I'm going to see what this thing can do boosted. If this thing's going to be any good at all in the Great League, it's going to be boosted. We're going to farm down the gradient, and we're going to look to see what comes back in. We're going to be able to apply heavy damage here, hopefully, unless it is a fairy type. In comes Steelix. We're going to look to throw after one. Again, this is where Grass Knot would be nice, but I really wanted that nuke potential to hit the Medichams. We're going to farm up. The opponent's just about to get to the move, and we catch on Quaquaval. I think this is pretty huge here. If we have any chance of winning this game, we needed to catch this move here. At this point, what I'm going to look to do is try and put pressure on the last shield of the opponent, going for Night Slash here. With the Meowscarada, we're going to come in for the move after 3. I went for the CMP tie right here. I think this is CMP. Trying to just optimize this as much as possible. That almost takes them out, and we actually get the farm down right here, and we have a Night Slash loaded for the Sableye. Now this is going to be getting super close. The opponent's going to go for a resisted farm down here, which actually could be our detriment right here, because one foul play, as you're about to see, is either going to take us out or do an absolute ton of damage. Does this move take us out? It's Power Gem, and the opponent is going to look to go ahead and farm us the whole way down. Of course, Shadow Sableyes are in Power Gem, so that's a little bit unfortunate right there. But good games well played, and we were only one fast move away from taking that match. Meowscarada versus Medicham looks like a good match with Aurelius, but as you're about to see here, these counters are doing more damage. And just as I'm saying this, I'm getting an earthquake. Literally, the ground is shaking beneath my feet at the very sight of Quaquaval in the Great League throwing off Aurelius's. The opponent is scared and they throw off the move. This is probably going to be a bait, but if this is not a bait, this is very, very good for us. Now, of course, we have 2 answers for Medicham, but if I can RPS the back line, that's pretty much what I want to do. Now, unfortunately, the opponent does go for a catch on Steelix, and yeah, this is just kind of tough here at this point. Now, does the opponent know about the close combat? We're going to throw this off in bad timing here, because I'm not really trusting my health range to go for good timing. We absolutely one-shot the Steelix, and ladies and gents, the opponent's in an absolute mess at this point. I wait down my actually I don't wait down the clock because the opponent's switch locked. Now I'm thinking, is this actually enough for the Psychic, or will they go for the bait? They do YOLO the Psychic, which again would do heavy damage. Now can I actually commit to the farm down? I decide not, and I decide I'm going to just try to get rid of this thing. Now if the opponent builds up to the Psychic, we may try to catch on the Meowscarada again. I let them counter me twice. They were 2 off the Psychic, and we catch a resisted Psychic back on Meowscarada. Like I said, we had to make some pretty insane plays in this video to have any chance of winning matches, and we're down to 30% health. Now unfortunately, in comes Sandslash. We're going to fire off this Night Slash, which will do a decent chunk, but unfortunately guys, they're going to get a very, very nice farm down here. Resisted farm down. These are looking like counters right now. We do get off a second move, so this is going to come down to, can my Pokemon live a Drill Run or not? They're on 1 HP in a Dream. We sneak through the Incinerate. Can we live a Drill Run from Shadow Alolan Sandslash? Yes, we do. On 1 HP. A 1 HP victory. That all came down to the catch, and that's honestly a pretty insane win. I think that's a YouTube short if I've ever seen one. I cannot believe I won that one. I literally was just celebrating here, winning that match. As you can see, I'm basking in the glory of that one. I was honestly like super happy about that win, but we're not finished there, folks. Let's hop into the next battle, see what we can do. Do we get any more Defense Deoxys leads or Sableye leads, or do we start getting some good leads here? We get a Quagsire lead. That's a pretty positive lead for me. We definitely don't want to see it on our fire type in the back. Sorry, I just can't remember these names. I'm going to CMP on the Stone Edge. Arguably a bad play because it sort of eliminates the possibility for me to swap out, but I'm happy with this at this point. I can look to shield up once and hopefully try to farm down. Of course the opponent's going to be going for Mud Bombs, and I do swap out to Meowscarada. We get a full farm down, the opponent is not fast enough to react, and in comes Golbat. So this is not particularly good. This thing is going to get absolutely rinsed by the Golbat, but we're going to leave some parting gifts. Man, Meowscarada is such a cool looking Pokemon. Why did they have to make it so glassy? The opponent gets scared because of course another Night Slash will be getting them pretty low. It might have been tempting to shield here, but I decide I'm going to let it go. I'm already down 1 shield. We're going to come in with our Fire Boy. We're going to come in with Skeledirge. I do of course have to watch out for the Shadow Ball, but I think I'm going to try to commit to the farm down. I think that's my win con at this point. We're basically down a shield at this stage. We have to commit to this farm down. We're down 2 shields actually, so the only chance we win this is by completely farming it down. We're on 100 energy. We're going to see what comes in. It is an Umbreon. We overfarm here. You know, good timing. Good timing is more important. We have to overfarm here, of course. We're going to look to fire another one and try to catch the foul play. Unfortunately, the opponent is not for the foul play. This could be a last resort, or if it's an absolute mad lad Psychic, it's actually Dark Pulse. This opponent's running Dark Pulse. Now what I'm going to look to do is go for several baits on this here. I think that's my win con. They've got 2 shields. I either need to land a close combat or go for the bait. We'll see what the opponent wants to do here. I think I still can get to 2 moves in Skeledirge, so we'll see how this goes. It's going to be very, very close. Dark Pulse almost takes us out. I really should be going for close combat in this situation, to be completely honest with you, because as you're about to see, the opponent lets it go. That would have been the win right there. We just really need to hope that we can survive a foul play, or look to get to 2 moves. Unfortunately, we're just super low. If I had just went for the move, I would have won this game. Super unfortunate. It was really a bad misplay, to be honest with you. It's funny how I'm making some insane plays, but then making misplays like that. I didn't read the situation very well, and that's a good game. Now, this is a Pokemon that actually beats our entire team, so we're going to have to stay in here and try and chip it down as low as possible. I guess our only real hope is maybe to catch a Weather Ball on Meowscarada. Like I said, Meowscarada was a damage sponge. If you've ever seen the YouTuber videos where people basically catch on Magikarps, that's pretty much what Meowscarada is here for, but if you do get it ramped up or get a bit of an energy lead, it can hit for super effective damage. We're going to look to fire off this move, and I think at this point, I kind of want to preserve this for a catch later on, but I do decide I'm going to just let it go down. Come in with Meowscarada, go for a farm down. These wing attacks are absolutely ripping us to shreds. I am going to let this go because it is just a Weather Ball. I'm just praying and hoping I can get off a hard-hitting move against something that comes in. If this is Medicham, can we get to the move? It is Venusaur, so we can look to chip this quite a lot. And of course we have Skeledirge here, which will do quite well. I decided to bank that energy and come into Skeledirge. In comes Lanturn. I'm seeing nothing but BBML teams, unfortunately. This thing is going to absolutely take us to town. Now, my only sort of win con here is that I maybe farm this down and look to maybe get off multiple moves on the Venusaur, but that is looking very, very tough. I'm thinking here, should shield up, go for double Disarming Voice, and hopefully we can just about live a surf in time to maybe farm it down and get off enough moves. The opponent shields it, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe I've got a win con here. Maybe I can look to farm this thing down with Meowscarada and look to hit it with a heavy hitting move. We're going to commit to this. Will the opponent get to the move in time? They do not. Now the real question is, does Venusaur live this, and can we actually get to the back-to-back? I don't think this will one-shot. We definitely need to get to the back-to-back here. We're on super low health, and the opponent, unfortunately, they beat us by 1 turn. They got to the Frenzy Plant here, which of course will be enough. Good games well played to the opponent. And again, just another super close loss. We're coming into a Medicham match, which once again, they're going to have to build up to the Psychic. But to be honest with you guys, if you see this thing, just throw an Ice Punch. Like, it's so glassy. The opponent goes for a really nice catch in Dugong here. And I'm thinking this might be a good opportunity to actually get a shield off the opponent. They're not going to shield up this one, and these are resisted Ice Shards. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is build up, and maybe go for back-to-back close combats. We've thrown good timing here, and we're going to look to fire off close combat number 1. The opponent respects the damage. Of course, they want to get off their debuff. We're going to throw this in bad timing just to make sure we get this off and give us the ability to swap out here. And we're going to hop into Skeledirge, hoping to catch the Icy Wind. Unfortunately, the opponent is not insta for Andy, and I have to make a choice here. Are they going to beat me? I think they are, so I just let it go. It is the Icy Wind. That would have done heavy, heavy damage. And I think at this point, they probably should start throwing the move. They know that I'm going to get to a move quite soon. I don't think they want to, well actually they've of course got no shields left. They come in for the snipe with Medicham. This will be the Psychic, or potentially the Psychic. It is an Ice Punch. I'm going to overfarm a little bit here. I maybe could have overfarmed by 1 more, but I knew that they were getting pretty close to another Psychic, of course, if I keep overfarming, and I just want to make sure that doesn't happen. In comes Steelix. We can look to hit this with heavy, heavy damage with the Shadow Ball. This will look to hopefully get them in a range where we can farm them down with Meowscarada, or do something else with it. Steelix is super bulky. We do go for the catch in Quaquaval. Unfortunately, we don't make it this time. I was trying to wait the turn and go for the catch. Unfortunately, don't make it, and I'm thinking here, I might have to go for a Meowscarada sweep here. We come back in with Skeledirge. This is definitely going to take us out, and I think my only hope to win this game is to look to commit to the farm down and hopefully land enough moves to take out the opponent. Now the opponent's going to go for a breaking swipe here, which of course is not pleasant. No moves are pleasant for Meowscarada. We're still in the chill zone here. We're going to look to throw off a Night Slash in good timing. The opponent did recently further energy, so I'm thinking here we maybe can just about take this. We don't take them out till they get to the move. I think they would have been just at the move, and we just need to outpace to the Night Slash. Can we get there? I think that was a CMP tie. Now, will this Night Slash actually take out the Steelix, or is it going to be enough? We get the pause. Meowscarada, being just an absolute glass cannon, takes it out with the Night Slash, and that's a good game well played. Once again, very, very tricky opponent, and we somehow managed to come out with the win here. And like I said, surprisingly, I went 3-2 in this set. Was not expecting that. Quaquaval versus Sandslash. Now, of course, we can look to one-shot this thing, but this thing can put in heavy, heavy damage against us, so this is not pleasant. We're going to CMP them on the move here. Does the opponent know about close combat? I'm thinking I'm in a rough spot if they don't let this go. They do let it go, and we absolutely one-shot it. We're going to CF swap straight out of here. In comes Medicham. We're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let them get farm. And they're actually staying in here with Medicham. Could it be that they're just absolutely core broken by this Pokemon? I think this Pokemon is very unique, and I think it's by far the best Pokemon out of all of these three. Quaquaval is interesting, and again, I think in the Ultra League, these Pokemon will be much better with much more bulk. In the Great League though, Quaquaval is just way too glassy to get anything done, but I actually quite like this Pokemon right here. It has a very interesting moveset. Incinerate, definitely unfortunate, but the charge moves are very interesting with Fairy and Ghost. It can hit quite a lot, almost anything, I'm sure. Fairy and Ghost, there's not a lot that resists both of those moves, I'm sure. And of course, with all the Medicham, Defense Deoxys roaming around, we're seeing a lot of things like Sableye in the meta as well. I think this Pokemon could be half decent with a better charge move, and we'll have to wait and see about that one. Now, in comes Medicham. Once again, we're going to look to probably CMP them on the Psychic. We'll see what the opponent does here. Do they throw the move? They do not, and we're going to just insta-swap into this thing, trying to basically get ahead in energy. I'm happy enough to actually, okay, we're going to make a call here that they're going to go for the Ice Punch. They do go for Ice Punch. I made a nice little call here. Now, I'm not going to let them get to the Psychic without giving me a shield, so we're going to fire this off first. And again, if the opponent wants to Psychic me, that's fine. I'll match shields and try to come out with energy. The opponent lets it go, which is quite nice, and we'll see what they decide to come in with. They come in with Steelix to a Fire type, which is not what you'd expect to see. We're going to look to YOLO this. Of course, we don't want to throw any resisted moves, and we'll see what the opponent wants to do here. They do, of course, shield it, which makes me think, what do you have in the back? Could this be like a Lowland Sandslash or something? This is getting a little bit low, and I'm thinking I might be able to get off one more move here. We just about don't, unfortunately, and we're going to look to maybe come in with Meowscarada. I'm thinking if it is Sandslash in the back, we can look to one-shot it with close combat. So in comes Meowscarada. We're going to look to eat the first Breaking Swipe and look to try and hit it with the Night Slash. This is going to be getting very close because, again, these Pokemon are so glassy. I'm going to throw in good timing, of course, to try and optimize as much as possible here. I haven't yet seen what's in the back, so it really just depends on what's in the back, whether or not we come in this game. The opponent goes for some sort of a catch here, and we're going to come into our Quaquaval. I always seem to think this is a flying type. It's got flying type moves, but it is a water fighting type, so it's definitely very unique. That's the one thing about this Pokemon, where it sort of lacks bulk and lacks maybe some play in the meta. It is unique, and of course we all love a unique Pokemon. We're going to farm this the whole way down. I think the opponent wanted to get farm with Steelix here. I maybe could have got to like close combat in time. To be honest with you, I just wasn't trusting the fact that I'd live another move here. We definitely would have lived it, but I just know that we've got the move here. We've got a shield, and I thought that was the safest play. Just make sure to chip it down in time to make sure that we can take it out, and that's a good game well played. Like I said earlier, running this team was exceedingly difficult. We do have a Mew here, so like, good luck guessing what this moveset is, but it is exceedingly difficult to beat the meta. But whenever you do, it's just such a satisfying win. In comes Mew. Yeah, like I said, who knows what this is going to be running here. I was expecting Wild Charge. I don't know the counts for this Pokemon. They throw a Grass Knot here, so I'm assuming this is 6 for the Grass Knot on Mew. So what I'm probably going to look to do is try and catch a move on one of the two back Pokemon. I don't necessarily want to get Shadow Clawed down. We go for the catch here. The opponent doesn't even get off the move, and I'm pretty satisfied with that. In comes Azumarill. Now again, this is where Grass Knot is just looking a lot better. They go for the catch on Umbreon, and at this point, where we're missing out on Grass Knot, we're going to more than make up for it with this move. That's going to rip them to shreds, and I think the opponent sees the writing on the wall. I'm not convinced that game is over, to be completely honest with you. This game is never over when you're using these free Pokemon, but I'm very satisfied with that win, and again, Play Rough just coming in clutch. At this point, I was in hysterics laughing the fact that I actually hit that move, and sometimes the only thing that matters is the opponent does not know your moveset. Quaquaval, a very negative lead into Lanturn. Again, I just did not have any good leads with this thing. I'm thinking I'm going to look to go for close combat here on 7 instead of 8, because of course I don't want to CMP and force myself to lock in here. I go for the insta swap thinking that'd be an insta for Andy, unfortunately not. And in comes Medicham. Can we get to this Play Rough in time? Now, is this 5 or 6? That's what this is going to come down to. It is 5, it's just the Power Punch, we do survive it, and we get to the Play Rough in 1 HP. Does the opponent know about Play Rough and Meowscarada? We're about to find out here. The opponent, oh, it's so annoying. Stop being such a pussy, just let the moves go. Just let the moves go. We're going to come in with our Skeledirge, of course very weak to Lanturn, but we're looking in just such a tough spot here. Yeah, unfortunately, the opponent is going to get to a move. I do have to respect the Psychic, because of course, it would get us super low and put us in farm down range. In this situation, I go for a huge overfarm, and we're going to look to fire off this move. What I need more than anything is energy, and of course we have to try and somehow deal with that Lanturn. That does just about take them out, and I'm going to insta for Andy this move. We already close combated them, so I'm hoping here at this point we can look to maybe do something. I decided to go for the overfarm. I was very tempted to go for the Surf Catch. We may look to do so here, we'll just have to have a look. They go for the back-to-back surfs, unfortunately. To be honest with you, I wasn't aware that they were on back-to-back surfs here. We're going to go for this, and we're just going to hope that we can one-shot something in the back. That's basically my last hope in this game, that we can look to close combat something in the back. What is it? It's going to be a Venusaur, and unfortunately, guys, you've seen the damage from last time. This is not going to quite take them out, unfortunately. This is non-shadow, and at this point, like, they are getting super, super low, and they are at the move, and our Skeledirge is getting a little bit too low, unfortunately. Good games well played. Guys, that's the Paldean starters in the Great League. Would I recommend building any of these for Great League? Absolutely not, to be completely honest with you. If you want to build any of them, build Skeledirge and Quaquaval. Do not build Meowscarada. Meowscarada could be quite interesting for Ultra League, and I think all 3 of these Pokemon are definitely better Ultra League Pokemon. However, I just don't think until they get the community days that they're going to see any play in the meta, and Definitely build these Pokemon if you want to have fun, mess around like I did, but to be honest with you, if you're sort of a little bit low in dust, you're not really trying to make the investment, I would just probably hold off on them for now. However, this is a really good event, 4 times catch XP, 4 times Stardust, get out there, grind, get some good IVs, but apart from that, just enjoy the event itself and don't really worry too much about these Pokemon for the Great League. Thank you very much everybody, have a fantastic rest of your day, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time for a brand new video.